Good afternoon, everyone, and a massive welcome to you all. We have an exciting webinar planned for you today, but first of all, some formalities on how this all works.
Told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too.
First and foremost, you are muted in listen-only mode, and therefore the only people that can speak is myself and Jacob, who I'm going to introduce in a moment. So how do you ask questions, I hear you all ask? Well, there's a nice little chat box down the bottom there, so if you do want to put some questions in, I'll make sure that I pick them up from there. But we do have a dedicated question box just below. If you just scroll down a tiny little bit more, and you'll notice there's a question box there and also a poll box, so you can use either of them to get your questions over to us. Now, these questions can be related to the webinar itself. So when Jacob goes through and shows all that we've got to offer in terms of the mobile app, feel free to throw as many questions at us at that point in time. Or maybe you want to be asking some questions at the Q&A section at the end of today. And if you want to start putting them in there, we will deal with them at the end as well. So who am I? My name is Aaron Patrick. I'm head of accounts at Boffix and also a chartered accountant. Boffix is a state-of-the-art online accounting firm, which is the best cloud technology available to help small businesses get the crucial real-time information they need at their fingertips. If you require any accounting advice, payroll or bookkeeping or anything else that's needed on offer, then please do get in touch. Also with me, I have the expert in the field, Jacob from Intuit QuickBooks themselves. Do you want to say a quick hi, Jacob?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's Jacob. I work in the service delivery team at QuickBooks and work nice and closely with Aaron from Boffix.
Perfect. Thanks, Jacob. We're really excited to have Jacob here today. He's going to be able to give you some wealth of his experience and going to be able to show you exactly what the app is capable of. So why did we choose this topic? Why are we going through this topic today? Well, really, there's lots and lots of reasons as to why that's going to be. But one of the key timing as to why this sounded like an important point was the reason of why it's so important to get data into your bookkeeping system at this point in time. Our clients know the importance of having updated data at their fingertips. Without knowing the ins and outs of your business at such a sensitive time, makes it really difficult to make those really important decisions. We're having clients having to make decisions on furloughing or having to take on additional finance and all those sort of key sensitive issues. And the only way they can make that information and understand how that is going to relate to their business is by making sure they've got all the data in place to begin with. Small businesses are now having to look to the future. There's a pivot in the way that small businesses are currently having to deal with COVID-19 and how COVID-19 has affected their business. And the best way to do that and the best way to make those decisions about the future is to have all the data in place now so that we can have a really solid foundation when we look forward into how your business is going to be doing. One of the most overused words at the time is unprecedented, but as you can all see and you can all understand, we are in unprecedented times. So having to figure out exactly what decisions have got to be made with your business and everything else, we're now having a point in time where we're having to make new decisions that small businesses like yourselves have never had to make before. So the only way we're going to be able to get that right, and the only way we're going to understand that, is making sure we've got the right data in place to begin with. We at Boffix are really proud to be partnered with Intuit QuickBooks with the product that we believe is the best on the market at being able to give the level of service and give the level of data to our clients so they can make those decisions. But no matter how good that software is, no matter how good we have a relationship with any of our partners and the way that it works, we always have a barrier of entry in terms of how much help we can give to our clients. And as a user of QuickBooks, you'll also have a barrier of entry of how useful that information can be. And that's going to be all down to how much data you've got into QuickBooks in the first place. One thing we want to make sure and want to make it as easy as possible is to find a way for you to get that data into QuickBooks as streamlined as it possibly can be. And that's exactly why we invited Jacob and the team at QuickBooks to be able to come along and show you how to get that data into QuickBooks as effectively and as efficiently as it possibly can be. And the more simple and easier way we can do that, the more way we can help each other. Trusted business advisors can help clients to be able to make sure that they're getting the best out of their possible service. And the best way to do that by a country mile is by using that mobile app. We all carry our mobile phones with us each and every day, and Jacob is here to explain how, with a bit of guidance, you'll find the benefits of using that app, not only to make it easier to get the data into the system, but also so that you can use that data to know in real time how your business is doing. Some of the technology Jacob is about to show you may seem like a little bit of witchcraft, but I rest assured and I assure you all that this is definitely the best way of getting that data in there. It's the most safest, it's the most securest, and it's going to make sure that you get that data in there as soon as possible. So if I have a look at the agenda of what we got on today, introduction, all done and dusted. Then we're going to have a look at the QuickBooks mobile app overview. So Jacob's going to go through that with you in a lot more detail, explain to you exactly how that works. We're going to look at how you can snap your receipts, connect in your bank feed, and at the very end, we've got a Q&A. My role here today is to be a Q&A master, so question and answer master. So as before, start putting as much information into that chat box as you can. Ask me questions as we're going along. I'll fire them at Jacob. And if you do have any questions, then put them into the question area as well. So without further ado, though, let's pass it over to Jacob, and he's going to take you through the QuickBooks mobile app. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Darren. Yeah, hello everyone, afternoon. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. So as Aaron mentioned, we're going to give you a quick overview into the mobile app. We're going to look into capturing receipts, connecting your bank feed, and we will have time for Q&A at the end. As Aaron mentioned, if you scroll down, there's an option to put some questions in. You're also free to use the chat box. And there is a poll in there, or a couple of polls, which just to keep things interesting and just to get your views as we go through. But first and foremost, why are we using the app? Well, it's all about making your business as efficient as possible. The app is user-friendly, it's quick, it's easy to use, and it's the whole idea of being able to control your business on the go. We've done our own research, and we know that small businesses are spending approximately a third of their year, so about 120 days, just on admin alone, and that can be creating invoices, sending estimates, even actually having to chase our clients to get that money through. So any opportunities to save time on snapping receipts or sending through to QuickBooks, the app is there to assist with that, and it should be used in conjunction with the software online as a really just an easy way of just getting that information into QuickBooks. So, without further ado, I'd just like to highlight the first poll. So again, if you scroll down the page, you'll be presented with 3 tabs. The middle one is polls. You've got questions to the left of that. Ignore the offers one, but just let us know, have you ever used the QuickBooks mobile app before? If you have, click yes. If you haven't, click no. If you have, that's absolutely brilliant. This hopefully will give you a little bit more information. If you haven't, then absolutely, this is a good opportunity just to understand a little bit more about what the app can do on there. I always find it quite exciting. It's sort of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when you ask the audience on this part. Okay, brilliant. So we've seen, yep, some people haven't used the mobile app. Someone has as well, which is great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the app looks like. Now, again, you're going to get a recording of this after, so don't worry if we're going through this quite quickly. Hopefully it'll be nice and easy to understand, but again, you'll be able to view it after. So I'm just going to show you the app. You're going to stop seeing Aaron and myself. Now, to start with, the app has a rating of 4.7 out of 5 on the App Store. And I mean, that's exceptionally high. But it's not just, I mean, this is an example of an iPhone. There are actually 3 flavors of the mobile app, as we call them. You've got the iPhone. You've also got Android if you use an Android device. And finally, you've got the iPad view as well. Now, it's the same functionality across all different flavors, but it's slightly different in the visual side of things. I personally really like the iPad because you've got a nice big screen there, almost mirrors the software online, but it's equally as great in the iPhone. And if you haven't already, you are able to download the app. You can do this on Google Play, you can do this on the Apple App Store. You type in QuickBooks Accounting. Now, you may see that there are actually 2 apps that appear. The other one is our self-employed products, but the QuickBooks Accounting, if you type that in, the first one that appears on there will be the app to download. And what's great is that it's free for anyone that has a QuickBooks license. You just have to use your standard login information on there as you would online. Okay, so what I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the app just to give you an idea of what the functionality is on here. Now at the top you'll see it says home, and you've got dashboard and you've got activity. So this is actually the dashboard side of things. What it essentially shows you is a business snapshot, a snapshot of your business at this very moment. So to start off with, we've got the most important one, P&L, profit and loss. How much money have I made this year? How much money have I been paid? How much money am I owed? You'll see here I'm actually in a net profit of £217. I'll try not to spend it all at once. In this case, this is actually, I do part-time football coaching, so a small profit on there actually isn't too bad at all. What we're able to do in the top right there is where it says this year. We can click that, and we actually can change the time frame on there. So we look at a different time period. So the last 30 days, for example, has been it's been a slow one for sure, whilst I haven't been able to do much football coaching. I can actually view profit and loss and click into that a little bit more just to give me some visual demonstrations on there, which is really, really great. I like the look of that. Okay. And as we scroll down under profit and loss, we've got invoices. Now, you can see here I've got a number of invoices that have been paid and unpaid. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to tap into this and drill down into those invoices. So if I click here, for example, I'm able to see those invoices that are overdue. Now, there's a few interesting ones on here. I've got one that is overdue by 77 days, and I've got another one here that's overdue by 23 days. I really need to get on top of this. The one that's particularly worrying for me is this one that is overdue by 23 days, because you'll see it says not sent, and I can click into that invoice, and I've been provided with a little timeline at the top there, so I can see, has it been sent? Well, no. Has it been viewed? No. Has it been paid or has it been deposited? And I can keep an eye on that, and I think that's really, really good to do. So the app is obviously prompting me to send it, and it's really, really easy to use that as a bit of functionality. If you want to know a little bit more about how to invoice on the go on the app, then please do let us know. We'd be keen to do a webinar on that. Okay. Again, if we want to scroll down, we can see our expenses. So again, similar to the P&L, we're able to change that period in the top right, so where it says last 30 days, and I can change that if I want to look at, for example, this quarter on there. Now, it is actually exactly the same in terms of the data at the moment. And again, like with the other two sections, we are able to drill into it, but just by clicking on it, and we can see some of the expenses that we've got on there. Now, if you're not sure about how you should be, or if you should be claiming something back as a business expense, please do chat to Aaron, please do chat to anyone at Bofix, and just have a little bit of a discussion about that. And finally, the last thing on the app on there is actually, when it loads up, is going to be my account balances, which will give me real-time information of all my banks connected. At the moment, I don't appear to have any bank information on there, so that's not going to show anything on there. But the dashboard is just going to give you that real quick snapshot into how the business is running at the moment. On the top right, I can go to activity, and this will just show me all the recent activity that I have in QuickBooks. And again, I'm able to drill into any of this, just find out a little bit more information on there, which is really, really great. And again, if there is an invoice, for example, I'm able to click into an invoice and again see the trail on there. So again, it's been sent, it's overdue by 8 days, but it hasn't actually been viewed by the client, which gives me a kick to say, hey, let's get in touch with the client and just make sure they're aware of that invoice. Okay, so I'm going to click home in the bottom left-hand corner, and that's going to take me back basically to the beginning. There's a couple of other buttons I haven't shown you. You've got this button in the middle bottom, which is the plus button. And this will give me quick access to features that I'm going to be using on a regular basis. So for example, if I wanted to create an invoice, I can click into invoice there. Super easy to either create a customer or choose a current customer I've got, choose an invoice number, a date, and basically send that off. And it will be exactly the same if I wanted to send an estimate on there. There are some other great bits of functionality, which again, if you want to know a little bit more about, please do let us know, and we'll be happy to go into more information either at the Q&A at the end or in another webinar. Now, in the bottom right-hand corner, the last button I haven't shown you, is 3 lines. Some call it the burger button. I feel like you have to have quite a creative mind to see it like that. But if you give that a click, that will give you a shortcut similar to the plus button of all the features that you may want to be using on a regular basis. Now, it gives you a bit more of a visual one on here. So again, if we want to be tracking our mileage in the bottom left, if we want to be tracking and capturing an expense, we can do that on there. But again, we're able to go into those and, for example, I want to see my customers in the top right, able to go into there and just see the outstanding balance I have on my customers. So super easy to use. That's the shortcuts. And right at the top there, I can move it to all as well. And it just gives me all the possible options and all the menu options that are available in the app. For example, if I wanted a bit more of a detailed profit and loss report, I'm able to click into that there. So hopefully, again, if I click that home button, hopefully that will that's taking me back to the beginning. It's just giving you an idea of how the app looks and how easy it is to use and find your way around and navigate. I think that's really, really important. And this, again, is all about being able to help you become more efficient as a business, get information easier into QuickBooks and save you time. Maybe that is to increase your profits, to spend less time doing your bookkeeping, or maybe it's just to get a better work-life balance. I think that this really, really helps. And at the end, really what it is doing is it's helping you manage your business on the go, not just on the computer, which is, I think, quite great. Okay, so that's just an overview of the app. Again, you'll get a recording of this, so you'll be able to look through it again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our receipt capture functionality. So what I'll do is I'll take 30 seconds. If you want to scroll down and just go to the poll again, just let me know, have you used the receipt capture before? It'd be really interesting to know, to see if anyone has or hasn't on there. Okay, so we've seen majority of people so far have not used the QuickBooks receipt capture, so that's great. This is going to be a great learning tool for you on there. Okay, great. Okay, so what is QuickBooks receipt capture? Well, it allows you to take pictures of your receipts using the app. QuickBooks will then extract that information. They'll match it to a transaction, and we'll be able to categorize it all within a couple of minutes. And I'll show you, that's not just a claim, that is something I'll be able to show you. We know that there is a great demand for this. We know that 45% of small businesses are not maximizing their expense claims, and very similar, 42% of them are regularly losing their receipts. If you're like me, I put them in my wallet. I then can throw them away at the end of the month. I lose them in the car. So this is just a really easy way of keeping track. Obviously, it's nice and easy to use, and I'm making sure that all my expenses are claimed as part of my tax bill on there. So what I'm going to do in this example is just show you how easy it is to take a picture of a receipt. So to do that, I'm going to go to the plus button here, and I'm going to go to Snap Receipt. Okay, what's going to happen is it's going to open up a little image for me on here. I've got my receipt. Okay, I'm just taking a picture. So I put the phone fairly close to that. You'll notice that it came out with a little green box. It's actually very not great holding of the camera by me, so I'm going to try again. Okay, so I've got my receipt on there, and this time a nice green box appears, and it's got that receipt on there. Really, really simple to use. Again, the app will guide you and make it as simple and easy as possible to use on there. And I'm going to click Use this receipt. Okay, it's going to upload the receipt for there. So what it's doing again is it's taking a picture of that receipt, a snapshot. It's going to begin extracting that information. So that receipt has been uploaded, and we'll be able to go to QuickBooks Online on the computer and add this receipt to our books. Now, what's useful here is it says it comes up with capture another receipt. So if you were waiting to the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, you're able to do multiple receipts at one time. And I think that's just quite a useful and easy way to do that. So in this case, I'm going to click Done on there. Now, if I wanted to go to the receipt snap on here. Okay, what we can see now is that we've got that one receipt processing. Now, it does take up to 15 minutes to process a receipt. We're seeing nowadays it's taking a lot less time, which is great, but it just extracts that information. I can also see my recent receipts and invoices on there. Invoices and bills, and I can see ones that I've reviewed as well. But I'm just going to show you what that looks like in the product as well. Okay, great. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on that. Okay, so I'm in the product now. And now if we want to be able to understand where actually to find this in the product, we can go to banking, and that will bring up 3 options. You've got banking, you've got rules, and you've got receipts. So we're going to go down to receipts. If you can't see it, it's got that nice pink new banner on there. So give that a click. Okay, we'll notice again that we've got the processing on there, so that receipt is processing. But for the sake of the webinar, and if anyone has seen Art Attack on here, this is one I made earlier. So this is a receipt I took a little bit earlier that's come through on there, and I'm going to review it. Okay, so nothing is going to enter my books until I've reviewed it, so that's really great. This is the same receipt I just showed you. Now, we've got at the top here an option to for a receipt or a bill, which is obviously a new function on there. The biggest difference between a bill, of course, is that we can then put a supplier in there, and it's obviously recognized that's a Sainsbury's, that the bill is from Sainsbury's. In this case, it is a receipt, so we are just going to go to receipt on here. Now, I'm going to select the bank that's relevant to. It's actually my HSBC account. It's picked out the date, the 25th of February 2020. I apologize, I haven't got a more recent receipt. It has been some time since I've been out of the house. QuickBooks has already categorized this as entertaining. Now, if you aren't sure how to be categorizing your receipts, please do ask Aaron, please do ask the team at Bofix just to understand that. In this case, I'm going to keep it as entertaining. I did take a client out for lunch, and I did buy them a chicken goujon wrap because I am very nice like that. Now, it's picked up Sainsbury's on here, and it's got the total amount inclusive of tax. If I'm not a VAT registered business, but if I was, it would then pick out the VAT on there as well. I'm able to add a note in for the memo, a reference number if I want on there. But I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to click Save and Next. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that as an expense. Okay. Now, what's interesting, and I will show you this just at the same time, is that one that we just took a picture of, it's actually come through now. And what you'll notice here is it's matched it as a duplicate. And what that means is it recognizes that receipt has already been that picture has already been taken. So it knows that receipt is already in QuickBooks, so we don't actually need it. Now, if you're like me and you're quite disorganized, it's more often than not, we'll think, I'm not sure I've taken a picture of that yet. And actually take a picture again, but we don't need to because it's come up as a duplicate on there. So I'm going to delete that in this case. With the one I've just created, if we go to expenses, we'll be able to see at the bottom here my expense that that was created 25th of February, £4.60, and that is the Sainsbury's receipt on there. Now I'm going to go into it a little bit later on, but once I've connected my bank feed, I've got all my bank information coming through in real time, which is really useful. Now, I'm very behind on my bookkeeping, but if I were to go through and just scroll down to the 25th of February, this is a transaction from Sainsbury's Supermarkets, and we'll notice here that actually the QuickBooks has found a record. So it recognizes the transaction, it recognizes there's an expense for £4.60 on the 25th of February 2020 for Sainsbury's, and really simply we're able to match that transaction to that expense that we've created, and that is done. Now if we go to our expenses again, we see the transaction. If we go to view or edit it, okay, you'll notice it comes up with an online bank match, which we click, it recognizes that transaction, aligned to that expense, 25th of February, £4.60 for Sainsbury's. And it's really, really easy to do like that. What I want to point out is that is one way of getting receipts, or capturing receipt information. The app is a really easy way to do it. However, there are a number of other ways you can do this too, in fact. One is this little box over here, which is to drag and drop files. Okay, so this is bills or receipts, we're able to drag and drop multiple at the same time. In this case, what I'll do is I will try and find you one that I've gone previously. I've got one of my bills on here. And again, you'll see that that information is now, it is uploaded and it is now processing it exactly the same way as the app does. So it's pulling that information, it's extracting that information, it's going to bring it into QuickBooks. If it's been, so for example, if you're scanning in your bills, you've got them via email, you know, this is a really, really easy way to do it. So you can do it in a PDF format, a JPEG format, PNG. It won't work for multiple receipts that are on the same file. So let's say, for example, you were to scan 2 or 3 receipts into one PDF. It won't read all of them, so you have to do those separately on there. Okay, but that's another way you can get it. So if those invoices and if those bills and those receipts are on email or on your computer, you're able to drag and drop them into QuickBooks really easily. And the third and final way is to actually send receipts via email forwarding. Okay, so you'll notice here that I can actually manage the senders. So this email address, Jacob_Emmanuel@intuit.com, is recognized as the QBO user for this account. If I were to send a receipt to that email address, to the email address receipts@quickbooks.com from this email address, it would appear in QuickBooks. It would read the information exactly the same way. Now, if you have multiple companies or multiple QBOs and use the same email for all of them, email login for all of them, you'll only be able to forward on from the most recent. But you are able to change the senders, add in additional senders for this account. So really, really nice and easy on there. So if you have multiple people using that QBO, you can just make sure that you can manage sender emails from all of those. Now, just getting ahead of some questions that I usually get. No, at the moment, we aren't able to use this for multi-currency. So not at the moment, but that is in the pipeline. If you do have multiple tax codes on a receipt, what you're able to do is you're able to select one of them. And then once you've reviewed it, as we did previously, you can go back into it and add more details on there. And it's the same thing if you're doing it for multiple, if you're categorizing it, you can do it for multiple accounts. You select one when you're reviewing it. And once you've reviewed it, you can go back in there and change that for more details on there. So hopefully, and again, that is a real whistle-stop tour into receipt capture. What we've done is we've shown how easy it is to snap a picture of a receipt or a bill using the app and get that information to QuickBooks, how quickly it does it as well. And how easy it is as well to create an expense and then match it against your bank transaction. So that's, hopefully that's nice and easy for you to see. And then the other two options, of course, to drag and drop files in from your browser or your emails, and again, forwarding the emails to receipts@quickbooks.com as another option on there.
Jacob, before you move on from there.
Yep.
Just an emphasis on that sending to the receipts at quickbooks.com. That's a really useful way when you're doing your own accounts to go into your Outlook or whatever email client you're using and setting up forwarding rules. These days, you get a lot of your bills are automatically being sent directly to you by email. So if you spend a bit of time going through your emails, finding those ones that are there and automatically forwarding them on, that really does save you some time and makes it really nice and quick and easy.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've done an introduction, we've covered the mobile app, we've looked at snapping our receipt, and what I would like to do is just show you how easy it is to connect a bank feed. Okay, so we're back in the app. Now, for those who may or may not have heard, there is something called open banking, which is a piece of legislation that's basically led to connecting a bank feed to QuickBooks being as easy as it ever has been. What this legislation means is that financial information can be shared electronically, securely. And I think that's really important to me, and efficiently. And that's that important part about the business there. So what it means is there's now a standardized process across all the banks, giving you a much better user experience, all the major banks, all the challenger banks. And that up-to-date bank feed information will provide you with real-time information as it comes through the bank. And it will give you that snapshot that we went through on the dashboard, as you can see there. It will give you a much better idea of how the business is performing. Now, once you connect the bank feed, you only have to update it every 3 months, and it takes less than a minute to do that. And that is a huge time saving. Everything can be done through the app. You no longer have to print off PDFs, send CSV files, or Excel spreadsheets to your accountant. You're able to do it yourself on there, which is really easy. So again, just to keep things interesting, there is a poll. So if you scroll down, have you ever connected a bank feed with QuickBooks before? Okay, again, we've seen a couple of people who have connected the bank feeds. Again, this will just show you, I'll just go through again just to remind you how to connect and obviously reauthorize as well. Okay, so if we go in the bottom right-hand corner to the burger button, okay, and we go to shortcuts at the top, we're able to go to transactions on there. Okay, so I've got my my HSBC account on there, but actually I've got another business account with Monzo, so I'm going to want to add that now. So this is an example of how easy it is to connect with Monzo. So I'm going to go to the plus button here, and I'm going to add my bank. So I'm going to search for Monzo. Great, and that's just come up, which is nice and easy. Now Monzo's integration's nice and simple. Every bank will be slightly different, but the process itself is standardized. So we're going to press continue on there, and it's going to come up with a consent thing, and this is really important. Now, consent to connect for 90 days. It's just going to go through all your information on there, and importantly here, it will say this will allow Intuit to generate your financial reports and other consolidated information until the 16th of August 2020, which is at that 90-day point. Now I'm going to agree to that consent once I've read it. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to now push me through to Monzo. And as I said, each account is going to be slightly different on there. So if it is HSBC, for example, then it might look slightly different. Okay, brilliant. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my account number in there. Usually it will ask you for information you usually put in online, my sort code, and the email address that's related to that. So I'm going to continue. It's just giving me a push notification, which I'm going to accept. Okay, and as simply as that, there's a slight delay on this. It has accepted just like that. So it's just going to load, it's connecting to Monzo. Okay, that information's come out. I'm connecting this bank, and I've actually already got an account set up for Monzo Current on there, and I'm going to connect it. It should connect. I have connected it a number of times for demo purposes, so it may not. But really simple and easy as that. It's just loading. The purpose is here that you're able to go to that plus button, choose your bank, and connect it really, really easily. Great. So that Monzo account is in there straight away, and I'm ready to review 2 transactions, and it's as simple as that. Now, when the 90 days are up, in the top right of each of those boxes, there might be a little exclamation mark in a circle, and I'll click on it, and it will say reauthorize or reconnect my bank, and I will do it the exact same way as to connect it initially, and it is as simple as that. And what that means, again, you're going to get control back in your hands. You're going to be able to give consent, I think, securely and efficiently, but you're going to get that real-time information coming in, and you're going to be able to have that P&L, that expenses, the income, a real good snapshot of your business. Obviously, when you're sending across CSV or PDF documents to your accountant, there's always going to be a slight delay. This will give you 365 days a year, 7 days a week, real-time information coming in to your bank account. And it's as simple as that. Great.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jacob. That was really, really good. Like a pro, though, you've already answered a couple of the questions that have come through. So we're just going to move on to the Q&A section now. So one of the questions that Jacob's already answered was regarding multi-currency. And yes, unfortunately, at this point in time, Receipt Capture doesn't do multi-currency. But that is, I assume, planned for that, is Jacob?
Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's in the pipeline. So we're hoping to get that through soon.
Fantastic. There's another question from Christopher, and he just asks, How would he switch between clients? So is there any way you could quickly just show him that on the demo itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
Wonderful.
Great. Okay, really testing my knowledge here. But yeah, if you if you click in the burger button in the bottom right hand corner, and in the top left, it's actually the only button I really didn't clarify on before, was actually a little cog. You can click that, and you'll notice at the bottom there where it says sign out, it's actually switch company, exactly the same way you would do in the product as well.
Brilliant. And when you first sign in, you get option, don't you, to which client
You
want to jump into at that point. That's fantastic.
Yes.
We've got a couple of other questions as well that's coming through. Remember, if you've got any more questions, jump them into the question box or into the chat box. We'll pick them up on either, or if you've emailed them in as before, as we asked. So we've got Amy's asked, nice to see you, Amy, mileage option. Can you just give a quick rundown of how that works? So don't need to go into too much detail, but you just explain how that works. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. What I love about the mileage tracking, this for me as a small business, when I do my when I track my mileage, it just automatically tracks it. So and I won't give you a full demo here, but if I click mileage on there, you notice I've got auto tracking on there. I've actually set up my car so it knows it's 45p a mile. I can also have a motorbike on there. And again, similar actually to the receipt snap, you've got the unreviewed journeys, and you've got your reviewed journeys as well. And they call this the Tinder of the accounting software. We're able to swipe left or swipe right for a personal or a business expense there. And again, really, really simple and easy. And what I like is that it gives you that number at the top of your potential deductions at the end of that tax year as well.
Fantastic. Brilliant. It's a really, really useful feature. It's one that we use throughout Buffett's quite a lot. We've got another question in from Tom. What happens if I lose an internet connection?
That's a good question. You should still have functionality on the app. It might take a little bit longer to process. So if you've taken a picture, for example, it might just process a little bit longer on there. But obviously, a lot of what you're doing in the app, you can do, and then it will either be a delay whilst you get internet connection, or it will just come up with an error message on there.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Kirsty asks, our very own Kirsty, how quickly is the main version of QuickBooks updated?
As in once we take a picture of a receipt, or?
Yeah, when you do any transaction in the app.
Sure. Very quick is the answer. With the receipt capture, there's a slight up to 15 minutes delay, but usually it's 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, I showed you during the demo, but it's very, very quick update on there. Of course, as that information is pulled into QuickBooks, it's pulled into the app in exactly the same speed there. So it's nice and quick.
Wonderful. And I assume you'll be no problems having multiple people working on it at the same time. There's no issues whatsoever.
No issues there that we've seen.
Brilliant. Fantastic. But Jessica's asked, you've shown receipts being added, but what about bills? But in fact, no, you covered bills, so apologies for that one. So that one has been covered. So just to clarify there, you're not just having to put your receipts in there as expenses, but you can also put bills in as well, which is a brand new feature, isn't it? It's only just been released on that one. Fantastic.
Yes, indeed.
Shows it's consistently being updated. So next time we look at this feature, there may be even more extras coming in on that's brilliant. Dan's asked, what if you already have the transaction into QuickBooks Online? Is it worth still using receipt capture for this? So I suppose what he means there is there's already the transactions already in there. Is it still worth taking a photo, or would you not bother at that point?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think if you've got your transactions in there through the bank feeds, you're going to want to apply a receipt to match to that expense. And again, as I showed with an example, if you're like me and you often forget if you've taken a picture of that receipt, it will tell you if there's a duplicate in there. So the whole point of this is just to make it really simple to be able to match those expenses nice and simply to the transactions.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I definitely emphasize on that, because from our point as an accountant, we want to see as much of the receipts as possible, because that's going to make our life easier in terms of making sure they are allowable. And obviously HMRC is going to want to see that information as well. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Take a photo of it, even if you know it's already gone through the bank. Just if you've got a photo going around, a bill or an expense, doesn't matter what it is, take a photo of it, get it into the system, and then leave it up to your accountant. If you've got an accountant to prove if it is allowable or not allowable, let us do that decision for you and move it on from there. And that's a really good point in terms of if you are a Buffett's client, we still would emphasize to use this feature, because that way you're going to be able to get that information in nice and quick to us. Means we can process it quicker, means we can get it onto your VAT return quicker, and means that we can make those decisions with you and make sure that we get the most up-to-date information for your business. And it looks like we've got one more question coming in from John, and he asked, is there any way to look forward at cash flow within the QuickBooks app?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not one of the lucky few, but we are trialing something called the cash flow planner, and that's just going to give you a forecast into your cash flow. And again, this is why it ties in really nicely. Connect your bank feed and get that information in there, because that's going to assist majorly with planning that cash flow. Now, we are hoping to drive this out not only just on the app, but actually in product as well online in the next week to 2 weeks. We're going to do it in phases. So if you get it sooner, then you're one of the lucky few. I'm unfortunately not. But it's a great bit of functionality, and we'd be happy to show you a little bit about that. I just think it's a really good way of forecasting a business easily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a bit of personal plug on that one as well. We've done a video on it, going through exactly how it works and everything else. It is a really good feature, and it's one that I'm, like Jacob says there, looking forward to it appearing in the main product as well, because then I think we'll be able to have a little bit more play with it, a little bit more, see exactly what it can do. But on paper, you connect a bank account up, it predicts how your business is going to do in the future, and then you can add events as you go along. And I think it's going to be a really useful way, especially in times like this where clients, we're seeing clients struggling in terms of their short-term plans and everything else, that they need to have that information there. So it couldn't come at a better time for clients. A couple more questions have just come through. So what if you have a receipt but no bank transaction to match? E.g., I forgot to use my business card and paid with my personal card and then transferred the money to myself. How would you deal with that one, Jacob?
Oh, that's a good one. And you've got a few options. I mean, you've still got an option to connect your bank. Obviously, I understand you can actually, what you are able to do as well is you could bring that information in on an Excel spreadsheet. So if it's just a few transactions, it's really easy. You can import data using an Excel spreadsheet, and it's actually a little guide that will just show you how to do that. So if it's just a one-off transaction, because we've all been there, I've got too many cards to count, to try and remember which card to put everything on. You're able to put that information into QuickBooks and just match it nice and easy. Was that what you would do, Aaron?
Yeah, there's that way. That definitely works. Another way that can be just as useful is if you create your director's loan account as a bank account itself. It means that when you do press that photo, you do put it in as a receipt. When you drop down and you're choosing between if it's a bank or a petty cash, whatever it's going to be, you can just put it to your director's loan account. But both ways work really, really well. Also, QuickBooks have just released the idea or the opportunity for you to import journal entries as well. So some clients have been finding that to be quite useful for getting information like that in. So, whichever way, there's one thing that's great about QuickBooks is there's loads of ways to get that information in there, and it can be adaptable for how your business is, which is one of the main reasons why we chose to partner with them. Another question coming in. Amy, a few days ago, I had a go at amending the category of product in stock with my mobile app, and there wasn't an option to add a new category in the app, although I managed to do that within the online QuickBooks. Yep. Could you advise if there are any other limitations with the mobile app? Thank you in advance.
That's a really good question. And you know what, actually, even myself, I will find as I go through the app, there are certain limitations on it, but it shouldn't actually, I really don't like the word limitations, because the app is an addition to the online software. It is a way of being able to do things on the go. There will be certain things that you can't do that you'll be able to do in the app. It's meant to sort of, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking at? I can't think of the word, but it's meant to work alongside it and sort of give you additional help on there. But the majority of things you are able to do in the app. You might come across the occasional one. I'm trying to think of another example that I came across the other day, but I can't think of too many. So that's a good sign.
No, it is definitely. I mean, there used to be a limitation of not being able to put bills in there. I don't think they've added a bill functionality whatsoever. But it's exactly what Jacob's just said. It's all about the fact it complements one another.
That's the word.
And it gives the opportunity for you to make sure you can quickly put data in there, quickly get data out. And it's all about making your life easier. If you are on the go, though, and it is a requirement that you need to kind of have that access to the data, one of the pro tips we've learned, and it's only recently, is that Apple's now updated. So if you're on the iOS side of things and you are using, say, the iPad, Apple's updated that quite significantly now in terms of the internet browser within the iPad itself. So nowadays you can almost get best of both worlds. You can have the iPad app, so it's just like we've just shown you today, where you've got a nice, quick and easy way. But if you do need to quickly go in and make an adjustment within the full browser experience, you can jump over to the browser within the app, and it's just like being in front of a computer. So, you know, you've got that. Sometimes it's about what sort of device you've got to complete the task you've got. But we've learned that's a really quick and easy way for people on the go, because people are using the app more and more now. We've even had times where some of our clients, this is the only way they'll ever use QuickBooks. They've never signed in any other way. And I think it's really important to understand what it can do for you. And if you do have any, again, not limitations, that's not the right word, but if you do have anything like that, you just need a way to be able to quickly go in and make those adjustments. Fantastic. And I think that's most of the questions have been answered there. And we'll give you a couple more minutes to ask any more questions. But Jacob, that's been really, really, really useful. I really thank you for your time you've put in there. I think one of the key takeaways from us definitely is that ability to have that emphasis on attaching the bank. So the idea you can go along at any point. Now, Jacob did mention that, and we do need to stress, it isn't QuickBooks reasoning, it isn't BOFIC's reasoning, the reason that the bank falls off after 90 days. Unfortunately, that's law, that's open banking law now. So, you know, we've got to be kind of prepared every 90 days to go in, update our bank account, so that if you're one of our clients, we can deal with that information for you, or if you're doing it yourself, so you can get that data in there. So now Jacob showed you how you can just quickly do it while you're walking around on the mobile phone. It's going to make your life so much easier. So I do recommend utilizing that mobile app to get that data in. And also do remember about how quick and easy it is to take a photo, get that information into QuickBooks, get it processing. You can just forget about it from whenever you can. And you know, the way Jacob showed you there's a workflow of everything going straight in. There's no need for you to go straight in at that point. Take the photo, think about it later down the line, or if you've got someone like us doing it for you, we'll deal with it on your behalf. One final question in there from one of them asking about any more information or more webinars or anything else in the past. Obviously, that's what we're going to be looking to doing. We'll definitely get some information over to you, Marta, on that one. And yeah, that's brilliant. So Jacob, any final bits from yourself?
No, it's been I've actually really enjoyed some of the questions coming in. Always gives me an insight into if people find it interesting, because it's much more difficult than when you're in a room talking to people. But you know, we're very keen to continue our partnership with BOFIC's. We're keen to run any more webinars. So please do take a moment just to fill in the polls just at the bottom. Again, did you find it useful? Would you attend future webinars? And if so, any of the topics down there, do they interest you? If not, is there anything you'd like to put? Please do put it in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. That's it. Brilliant.
Thank you very much for that. And again, thank you for taking your time. Thank you for the other Intuit employees who's come along to support this as well. Really, really been beneficial for us. We've definitely taken a lot out of this. And the only thing left to say is if you have any issues, any problems, anything, then obviously get in touch with us. You all know our contact details. You know where we are at BOFIC's. So we're there to help you going forward. But thank you from us. Thank you, Jacob, and stay safe, everyone. Bye now.
Thanks.
I say yeah. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it starts. I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want. Yeah, I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. Oh, the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, 'cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah.